got some pencil and paper, I actually wrote things down.
Yeah, I also wanted to say, Rachel needs to she needs to come in and really take the space of this project, and I feel like you just did remarkable stuff. And, I'll go on and attack you for not staying with it long enough, some of the stuff, but that's the cheery thing about this project. We just embrace the quality of each other's work, and we are doomed to be inside ourselves, and so because of the other two colleagues, we can try to support you by telling you to stick with some of those things longer. And I wasn't sure because this is for that first run, but then I realized, fuck, I just came out of a 3-night run. We worked like crazy. First of all, it wasn't that easy to convert back to 2 after you, and which was a really interesting process. I didn't expect that. And then, but now you come in, this is your home. Like you need to really take those ideas, and I just loved what you were doing over there. And there were several instances where I wanted you to.
I was gonna say.
And then his comment about we're about variety. We don't use the word very much. The variety of the pause in your work. Yeah, you need to grapple with that. That's not so automatic for you. It's a really good idea, because I just want to give you support. When he and I are out there, we're like banging this bong, and the bong is silence. It's almost like the dancing is extraneous. It's like we talk through the breaks, and it's short, medium, and long with them, and like we try to mess each other up by the length of the pauses, and all that stuff about expectation that all 3 of us have talked about today. That builds in the variety of the pauses.
Yeah.
Plus, it just frames what you just did, and you don't take what you just did away from us by your next variation. But one of the main things I want to say to you is welcome.
Thank you.
And there's time when you're out there alone that on top of this relationship thing, and how the hell are we going to reduce I want you to take your stake in the project and you did. The only reason I'm saying it is because I saw you do it.
Okay.
So I'm just like trying to catch up.
I think because we keep bringing up like being a viewer and wanting more, I would benefit in this next month of just saying keep going. Like
you like that idea, huh?
I think how else will we know? For now, and then maybe after like a month of that, it'll be there. Oh, like we could all have the liberty in the rehearsal maybe to be like, don't stop doing that.
That would be a very interesting thing to do for one rehearsal, or at least part of a rehearsal, to do a couple ones with exactly that command. That would actually be quite fascinating, to give ourselves that permission.
Yeah, like in vaudeville, what was it? It was, they actually set this hook out and pulled people to the wings who were like going on too long, doing their shtick.
But I mean, we could be basic things like, Alan, take a pause here. Alan, keep going.
Yeah.
Rachel, leave.
Because I wonder then if that intuitive thing I would understand it a little more.
Yeah.
If I hear that somebody.
Or we could look at the video.
Yeah.
That too.
But I mean, in real time to feel what I'm doing and then to know what I'm feeling, then do more of it. You know what I mean? Like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
Because when you can kind of waver in, like, is this when I stay, this when I go, this when I pause. If you kind of, I don't know, I'm not saying it every second, but if there's something that I wouldn't mind someone saying.
We can try it out and see how it goes.
I think worth trying at least once.
Stop.
Yeah.
What?
I think it'd be worth trying at least once.
Yeah.
See.
Because we did a version of it for about 30 seconds, looking at some video, or us each moving, back to Tish.
But I mean, this is basically an experiment,
Yeah.
Yeah, Nick and I would have done that. That would have been interesting to do.
To do what?
The same thing, tell each other
I
what we
doubt
want.
it. I seriously doubt it.
Oh, we should have. Nick would have embraced
Should
it.
have, could have, would have. Okay. Anything
I
else?
thought,
Okay.
and all
Something
this,
warm on.
all of this is offered just like, I thought this was really great, and I'm just telling you what I thought that might sharpen it even more. And okay, and so I didn't write this down at the very beginning, but I was enjoying the very beginning, and now I can't remember what this was. But now I at least have, from whatever point I got there, the the very first thing I wrote was, some pauses should be longer.
What a surprise!
And I think this is the problem, with more people, it's harder to have a long total pause, that's what I'm talking about. Not just individual pauses, but the total pause.
You mean the shared pause?
The shared pause,
Yeah.
a stillness,
Yeah.
or that involves two or even
Yeah.
all three of us, that some of those could be longer, and they're harder to get. The more people we have, it's harder to
Yeah.
keep everyone from moving every once in a while.
Mhm.
So I think that is something for all of us to think about, that we haven't had a long pause for a while, and then
Mhm.
make sure that everybody is still for 30 seconds.
Yeah, yeah.
I think that, because that puts in variety. Some repetition.
And the audience needs that. It's the same way. You
Yeah.
gotta go to the perimeters, we gotta go high and low, slow and fast, big and small. Small's are fine, you know, we've got that established. But we owe the total three-way silence to them. Yeah. Except in the beginning, because that's frequently I do that there.
I thought some repetitions should be longer. And the one that made me write this was actually, you had this great thing, you know, you came in with this, I
Yeah.
can't do it, but it was like, you just keep going back and forth like this. And then you went, you brought it around, and you got yourself stuck in this corner what is that bunny rabbit that runs on batteries?
Energizer Bunny.
The Energizer bunny. Like, you were like an Energizer bunny, and you kept doing it for 5, maybe 10 seconds. I bet it would have been almost really hard to do, but if like you could have just done it, found a way to keep going for like 2-3 minutes,
Yeah.
like that long, so that it becomes a part of the environment that now Alan and me, if I'm there, are working in. There's this Energizer rabbit over there in the corner that just is stuck.
Yeah.
Like that gives us something
Yeah,
to work
and you
with.
and I have to have the guts to let that continue.
Yeah.
Yeah, I felt something like that, like, oh, I need to be doing this longer, but there's not a fear, but something of like,
Absolutely, absolutely.
it almost feels like all then, especially because there's no other sound score, that I'm just sucking all the air out of the room.
No,
Yes,
you're not.
that's what you feel.
You are
So
not.
you feel, yeah, as
Yeah,
the
you have to
person.
become friends with that feeling.
Yeah.
Because you become an air conditioner sound.
Yeah,
That you're not, people stop paying attention to you.
right.
What?
If you do something repetitious,
It's a blur.
and there's anyone else on stage, you become less paid attention to.
Okay, and?
But you become part of an environment that is new, because now there's this constant thing going on, there's this roar going on, there's the air conditioner going on that allows us to, or the hum.
Right,
It's
even
one-
if it's totally silent.
Well, it's kind of the same.
And she's not hitting the
It's
ground.
kind of the same if you come over here and stand somewhere and stay there and she does stuff. The fact that you're there changes how we perceive what
That's
she's
for
doing.
sure, but I think you're talking
And,
about.
but if she's the Energizer rabbit over here in the corner doing things, that is the same, it works the same way as being still, except it's actually a little bit more prominent. But people still will pay attention. It like becomes something we get used to, and then we watch the
Yeah.
other things. And meanwhile, you have set this up, and like sometimes, especially if it's rhythmic, the rest of us can key into it.
Yeah.
You know, do what you're doing, but at halftime, or even or on the off beats or something. I mean, but I think that is worthy of exploration, to see what happens when one or more of us. You know, it's like me just starting a plink and keeping that plink going for 5 minutes. The audience, in that case, they might get really annoyed. But after a while, I think they also kind of stop paying attention, and meanwhile, I mean,
There's other activity, but even if, right,
If
I'm
there's-
standing there, you're sitting there not playing,
well, then it
and
becomes a
she's
different
going
thing.
there and
If not-
almost not changing.
Right, well, in that case, if nothing else is happening, then people start zoning in on what
Exactly,
she's doing.
like
and
I did
looking
in
at,
Maya's piece.
what
at
is
the
she
end of-
doing? So what is interesting about this?
I think it's a privilege.
I mean, in either case, whether something else is going on or not, setting up a repetitious, an ostinato is what we would call it in music. Setting up an ostinato is a thing that you can do, it's a tool. that
Yeah, but also it
has
leads
effect.
to this shock in the audience, like, holy fuck, I didn't realize what that feels like to do that. You know, they start falling into what you're doing after the 25-second mark. You know, so I think there's a lot of profit for the audience It's really hard for us not to introduce a little variation,
Yeah.
because we get tired, stuff starts hurting or whatever.
Mhm.
Well, it's like she ends up being the bells in
Yeah.
Mia?
Yeah,
Maya.
Maya's piece.
Yeah.
Like, that would be a visual bell
Yeah.
going on,
Yeah.
that you then could go and stand with your back to the audience for a while before we get on to the rest of the piece. So anyway, I'm just suggesting that that's something worth looking at.
Yeah.
Oh, and then this is something for all of us to be very sensitive to.
This has never happened, by the way. He's never watched me alone and commented. This is completely new because we didn't understand how about relationship.
Mhm.
But there's obviously other stuff to glean. So
Here's something I noticed. When it just so happens that you guys start moving simultaneously, or if you just happen
milk the fuck out of it.
yes, exactly. Or finish something if you finish something
Yeah.
simultaneously,
Don't
don't
do
move,
anything,
just stay
idiot.
there. Because it's like suddenly you did something together is what it comes across.
That.
And like everyone notices that, and it's like and we do so little of it, it's something to savor. I mean, like that happens like with him and me,
Yeah.
like when people
we were
notice.
together almost touching.
There was a place soon after I wrote this where you like
Really?
moving, you came and you both
Oh,
stopped
yeah,
at the
yeah,
same
yeah.
time.
Yeah, bam.
Yeah.
And like after 5 seconds, one of you moved, and it could have been 30
Forever.
seconds.
Huh? What?
I mean,
30?
both. Yeah, it could have been 30 seconds before one of you moved. It could have been a long time
Yeah, you guys
because
said-
it's really because it's like
The
you
first
did
one.
something together. Like whoa.
Okay, I just want to say.
And I don't want you to do too much together, but when you do, milk it.
Right, and that thought did go through my mind. I just want to say again about the panic, that it's normal, you have to just make a relationship with the panic. And
Yeah.
just, because during that point, I thought, cool, I'm not doing anything, and we didn't, we held it for a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
And then my mind was just raging, I thought, everyone in the audience is just wanting to know what the next thing is we're gonna do, like, where's it gonna go?
Yeah.
And stuff like that, and that's probably true, and it's good, and it's okay to deny them for a while. It's really hard for me to hold in the points like that past 7 seconds.
Yeah, it needs to go longer, or it can. And
It really can,
especially when all three of us are out there, if we ever hit a point where all three of us stop at the same moment, it's gonna be so hard to stay still, but we really should
Mhm.
for a long time. And I tell you something like 30 seconds, because with three of us out there, the chances are high that one of us is not gonna wait that long.
30, yeah.
And I'm being,
It's like a game show.
I'm purposely being,
Dogmatic, or,
hyperbolic, I'm exaggerating how long you should go. I mean, really, 15 seconds would probably be enough, but 30 seconds is what to aim for, because,
and test, and we're gonna look at
Yeah.
it on the video, or.
I mean, really, I don't know anyone has ever, well, that's not true. One person did tell me, but there'd be times when nothing happened for a long time, but like, she was in the minority.
Yeah,
Most
you don't like her work.
Right. Must be.
Okay, next.
Who was it?
And somebody into Gaga.
Oh, there was this one section where, and I can't remember, I put down mirror image and look was effective, and what I meant was somehow Rachel got over here and was kind of curved in some sort of position like this, and Alan was over here and was kind of in the same similar sort of thing, and looking at you. And yes, the two of you were looking at each other too, but it was really interesting that you were in not the same position, but similar positions.
Yeah.
And like that set up a relationship, a visual relationship that I wanted to savor for a little bit, and it wasn't, did I say you should pause more there? But it was effective. It's like, there was like an extra spiciness to that moment because
There was a visual
relationship.
similarity.
Yeah, because there was
And
a visual.
almost eye contact.
Yeah,
Okay.
but I think the visual similarity on its own would be enough. The fact that you were in kind of
Right.
the same shape.
That's
So, and this goes to the sharing of material. That sometimes the shared material is very effective. I mean, that's something Nick and I would do sometimes.
Right.
Sometimes we'd be doing very different things,
I
other
need
times
reminders about
we
that.
would do shared things,
Yeah.
and that can be very effective. People catch that, and then becomes like that's one of the things that ties it together. And yeah, I know I wrote this several times. When I am in there too, there should be even more stillness and repetition from all three of us, because the more people there are, the harder it is to make it happen.
Okay.
Oh yes, there was a place where both of you were moving a lot, and that was thrilling. It was like,
Why?
because mainly because it hadn't happened hardly at all. There was a place where you were running around and Rachel was running around, but like in opposite directions, and like it was just very active.
That's interesting.
And part of it,
I can
part
imagine
of the
that.
thrill is it's a small space.
Mm.
And so because it was like this tiny space,
Yeah,
and
you're gutsy that way. You should.
and you guys are like
You've had all
big.
this college.
Oh, this college.
And
Yeah,
it
like
was-
your improvisation. You've had like
It was just
18
thrilling,
million.
because like you're both, you were big, doing big things. You weren't just walking.
Right.
You were like doing
Yeah,
stuff in
yeah.
the space, and so I'm not,
I
walking
have
wouldn't
to
work,
say
but the
that.
fact that you were both doing big things, filling up this tiny space for like 10 seconds. That was, I don't think did I say you should go longer? No, because I also said, also equally thrilling, I think that might have been one of the places where you kind of both stopped at the same time. And like, whoa! It's like, and part of what's thrilling is because it feels like that, like the two of you connected.
Well, we literally, Rachel, for the very first time in the whole project, including all the other rehearsals, did this weight transfer thing.
Oh, wait, I'm
Which we
getting,
have never gotten to.
I'm not to that yet, I'm not to that yet. I wanna
Okay.
talk about that too. Okay, and once again, I wrote, when I'm in there, there should be even less of, you know, all the same things, be more extreme. Oh, yes, there was a point where Rachel came in, did something, and then she left. And I wrote, that was really funny. And then you did it, I think, too, later, that this was actually, there was something humorous about
Yeah.
this improv, and part of it was simply the timing. That you would come in, do this thing, and then leave. It's
Yeah.
like, what?
I was trying to play with the length of entrance and
You
everything.
did a shorter. Yes, you did.
Yes,
Yeah,
you
I
did.
repeated what I did before, or I tried to.
Yes, that
Like a
too.
And I
coda.
took that
That too.
without even realizing it.
Yeah.
Is that a coda?
Oh, there was one point where Alan, you were over on this side, and you did some sort of complex phrase to get over to this side.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that was interesting, exactly because everything else was so simple.
Yeah.
So it stuck out, and it was interesting.
Yeah, the driving, one of the 4 tools is only do 2 count phrases, you know, maybe 1 count phrases, and then I thought, you know. we
So
need to
maybe
push that.
the rule should be usually just do 2 count phrases, and maybe 2% of the time do a 3 count phrase, and 1% of the time do a 4 count. You know, it should have a tail.
Save it for one.
And
Yeah.
that tail,
And
out
then-
there at the extreme end, every once in a while something goes on. That
Yeah,
happens.
and, well, I mean,
It
the other
breaks
rule is
the
we
rule.
can break all the rules,
Right.
any rule we want. That's why I walked out, you know, for that first entrance, second entrance,
Oh, and then,
first entrance.
oh yeah, you can look at the art, which I guess Rachel did, and there'll be different art up, and I think that was really interesting, that because it connected you to the room itself, and like this is one of the things we'll have to take advantage of, either this
Yeah,
art
and she
or-
was doing her entrance stuff just to get there, that kind of turtle-like hunched over.
Right.
thing.
And then I know I'm gonna say this later on, but part of what's effective about that is that it was also abstract. That you came in an abstract way, but the looking was part of it. And like later on, it was only when you were here and you kind of put your hand on, like you were looking at it, it became too real. It was like someone in a museum. And that wasn't nearly as interesting as when you're both abstract and realistic at the same time.
Yeah.
That was interesting. Festival Farm, you can look at the art. This was great once again, the kind of the timing, this does worry me, the timing you guys set up for this is right for being in silence, but once there's some music going on and I don't know,
Yeah.
so, Oh, but even so, I said a few longer stillnesses, please, again, so still clearly I'm interested in that. Oh, so the sort of things where you're doing you're just coming in and then you're leaving. Another thing to consider there is come in, be still for a long time, and then leave. That's actually I feel that's just as effective.
Cool. Never thought of that.
Because you did just as little, but it lasts a whole lot longer, and
it's very defined.
yeah, so consider that as a possibility. Yeah, I said that about them. Stopping together and holding stillnesses is exciting. Longer time with, not sure what that was about, stillness.
You need to get going.
I have to leave at 6.
Okay. Oh yeah, and then the weight stuff there at the end was really fascinating.
W-A-I-T.
Weight
No,
sharing
the
weight.
E-I-G-H-T.
The weight sharing. And that was because I could see you guys negotiating it,
And it wasn't corny,
no,
and it didn't seem like a college improvisation class.
no, because you both were in an abstract shape when you did it, and it was very subtle actually, because like Rachel started by like just kind of hooking arms,
Yeah, you were.
and at the beginning,
That's
you know, there wasn't any weight thing, and like this really struck out because it's like, whoa, they touched each other, ooh.
And you saw the weight, presently.
Presently, I did, and that was part of what was interesting. You kind of snuck into it, and then even so, the weight was never like the main thing of what you guys were doing.
True.
It was just a slightly more than barely noticeable aspect of it, because sometimes it was there and sometimes it wasn't, and part of the negotiation was part of what was interesting about it. So I don't know how much to put that into our toolbox or not, but just watching it right now, that was very interesting.
Okay.
So those are the things I saw.
Good.
Yeah.
Good. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know, at that moment, it was like, there's no other option but to, I was like, I have to do this. I've never felt as compelled in the other improvs too.
Yeah.
Like, there's a tree branch. I don't know, I just like, there was not a
you
lot
never
of,
get that in other improv.
there was not a lot of forethought, I was like, I have to do this,
Good
so,
time.
I
Yeah.
don't know.
Right. Yeah.
And it was interesting because the shapes, because of the branches, you both had branches, but they were hooked. And I don't know, I found it very interesting.
Okay. See you next week. Where are my glasses?
Oh, I know what this was. So when you guys were in that intersecting shape, those intersecting shapes,
At the end.
at the end, there could have been stillnesses, and the stillnesses could have been wrong.
Yeah.
Because once you're there, it's like suddenly we have this complex shape we're looking at. And that would be interesting.
And I just want-
Or another thing, like when you came in and